At my own daughter's graduation, my husband betrayed me in front of family and friends, announcing he was done and his girlfriend was there watching. Everyone froze, but I calmly handed him an envelope. When he tore it open, he started screaming like his world fell apart. What happened? At my own daughter's graduation, my husband betrayed me in front of family and friends, announcing he was done and his girlfriend was there watching. Everyone froze, but I calmly handed him an envelope. When he tore it open, he started screaming like his world fell apart. What happened? The first thing I saw was his hand in the air, waving like he was trying to get a waiter's attention. We were packed into the bleachers of Lincoln High, knees touching strangers, the gym hot from bodies and cheap lights. They just called the valedictorian. I had my phone up ready for Emma's name. And then Josh stood up like my daughter's graduation was his stage. "Can I say something real quick?" he called out before anyone could stop him. The principal hesitated on the floor, microphone lowered. A ripple moved through the crowd, annoyed, curious, then quiet. My brother beside me stiffened. My mom's jaw set the way it does when she senses trouble. I felt my pulse jump because I knew that tone. Josh only used it when he wanted the room. He turned toward me, not even pretending it was private. "I'm done, Kayla," he said. "I'm not doing this anymore. I'm leaving. I should have done it a long time ago." The silence that followed didn't feel like people being polite. Felt like the whole gym got sucked into a vacuum. I could hear the air conditioner rattle. I could hear a kid sniffle a few rows down. I could hear Emma's class shifting on the floor, looking up. I could feel my face go hot and cold at the same time. Then I saw her. 2 rows down, tucked between our friends like she belonged there. Marissa. She had a soft pink sundress on and a neat little shrug, hair curled, smile ready. She didn't look nervous. She looked like she'd been waiting for a cue. When our eyes met, she didn't flinch. She just lifted her chin a little, like she was daring me to do something messy. Every single person around us froze. Linda from church had her hand over her mouth. Our neighbor Carl stared at his lap. Someone behind me whispered, "Oh my God." My brother whispered, "Josh, sit down," but Josh ignored him. He looked proud, like he'd just announced a new job. "Marissa's been there for me," he said, and he said it loud. "She's here today because I want to be honest for once." My lungs forgot how to work. Not because I loved him the way I used to. That was already complicated and tired. But because he was doing this right now, in front of our daughter, in front of everybody who knows our street and our bills and our struggles. He was trying to brand me in public. I felt Emma's eyes on me from down on the floor. I couldn't see her clearly, but I knew her. She'd be searching my face for what to do with her own. She'd be trying to decide if this day was ruined. And in the middle of that tight, ugly moment, something in me got very calm. Not numb. Calm. The kind of calm you get when you've already cried out the rest. I lowered my phone and stood. My knees shook, but I stood anyway. "Hey," I said. Josh blinked. He'd been expecting tears. He'd been expecting a slap. He'd been expecting a show. "That's it," he said, half laughing. "You don't have anything to say?" "I do," I said. My voice sounded like mine. Just not a speech. I reached into my bag and pulled out a brown envelope. It wasn't fancy. No dramatic red stamp. Just his name on the front in my handwriting. I'd written it last night at my kitchen table while Emma was upstairs painting her nails for today, and while Josh was out running errands for the 3rd night in a row. I held it out to him. His smile stalled like a car sputtering out. "What is that?" "Open it," I said. Marissa leaned forward a little, her expression tightening. She didn't like surprises. I could tell. Josh snatched the envelope like he still thought he was in charge. He tore it open hard like he wanted to punish the paper. The top sheet slid out. He read the first line, then the second, then his face just drained. Like someone pulled color out of him with a syringe. "What the hell is this?" he said, and his voice cracked on the last word. He flipped the page, then another. He started breathing fast. Then he started yelling. Not angry yelling. Panicked yelling. "No, no, no. Kayla, you can't do this. You don't get to do this to me." People turned fully now. Heads craned. Phones came up. The principal on the floor started walking toward the bleachers with a security guard. The band kids stopped fidgeting. Even the graduates went still. Josh's hands were shaking so hard the papers rattled. He looked like he couldn't decide if he wanted to crumple them or swallow them. Marissa stood up, eyes wide. "Josh, what is it?" she whispered. He didn't answer her. He barely saw her. He was staring at me like I'd turned into someone he didn't recognize. I kept my voice low. You're being served. Divorce petition. Emergency custody filing. And a notice from your employer. His head snapped up. My employer? You ever wonder why your foreman called you in early yesterday? I asked. He went pale again. The truth was right there on page 3 in black and white. He'd been skimming my paycheck for months. Not directly, he wasn't dumb enough to steal cash off my dresser. He'd been using my information to open a credit card I didn't know about, then another. Running up charges on tools, hotel rooms, nights out. When the statements came to our old P.O. box, he grabbed them first. When debt collectors started calling, he told me it was a scam. I believed him because I was tired and because I wanted to believe there was still a grown man living in my house. 2 weeks ago, I got a letter from a law office saying my wages could be garnished. I sat in my car outside the grocery store and felt my stomach flip. I went home, dug through a drawer where Josh kept paperwork, and found the card statements under a stack of old manuals. I didn't scream. I didn't march into the bedroom. I took pictures. I called the number on the letter. I found out the debt was 15 grand and climbing. That same night, my dad's old friend, Mr. Alvarez, the one who used to coach Josh in Little League, came over to fix my porch light. I didn't plan to tell him anything. But he saw my hands shaking and he asked me straight, "You safe? You okay?" The word safe hit me harder than any bill. I told him everything in my kitchen while the coffee got cold. He didn't gasp or give me pity eyes. He just listened. Then he said, "You need to protect Emma and yourself. I know a lawyer who helped my sister. You want the number?" I took it. The lawyer didn't talk like a TV lawyer. She asked me about money, about threats, about patterns. When I showed her the statements, she said, "This is identity theft. I'm filing a report. You can either cover for him or you can get free." I didn't even feel brave. I felt done. We filed the police report. We notified his job because some of the purchases were company accounts tied to his login. He'd been using their supplier line like it was a personal toy store. His foreman was furious. The company put him on leave pending investigation. That notice was in the envelope too. Josh knew all of this the second he read it. That's why he screamed. Not because I was leaving. Because the floor he'd been standing on was made of my silence, and I had finally moved. He leaned toward me, eyes bulging. "You're trying to destroy me in front of Emma. You chose the place," I said. My voice stayed even. "You chose today. You chose the crowd." The security guard reached for his arm. "Sir, you need to come with me." Josh shook him off at first, then saw all the faces. My brother stone still. My mom disgusted. Linda, eyes wet but not for him. Even our friends who'd sat with Marissa looked like they wanted to crawl into the floor. Josh realized he wasn't the hero in this scene. Marissa made a small sound like she was choking on her own shock. "You said she was crazy," she hissed at him under her breath. "You said none of that was real." He spun on her, then back to me, trapped between two stories he couldn't keep straight anymore. The guard and principal guided him down the bleachers. He clutched the papers like they were life preservers that didn't float. Marissa followed at a distance, her face tight and embarrassed and angry in a way that wasn't aimed at me. They disappeared through the gym doors to a chorus of whispers. The principal cleared his throat at the microphone, voice shaky. "Hey, let's continue." They finished calling names. "Emma Parker," the announcer said. My daughter walked across that stage like she had armor under her gown. Her face was set, but her eyes were bright. She didn't look up at me until she took the diploma. Then she did, just for a second. I gave her a small nod. She nodded back and kept walking. I sat down slow, my legs weak now that the adrenaline was gone. My brother put his hand on my shoulder and squeezed once. No speech. Just that. Outside, after, families were clustered around the lawn, balloons bobbing, people taking photos by the school sign. Emma found me near the parking lot, still in her cap, tassel swinging. "Mom," she said, and her voice was steady but her hands were shaking. "What just happened?" I took a breath. "Your dad tried to do something cruel. I didn't let him." She looked at me like she was searching for a crack. "Are you okay?" I wanted to say I was fine. I wasn't. I was raw. I was angry in places I hadn't even named yet. But I also didn't feel small. "I'm hurt," I said. "But I'm okay. And you're okay. That's what matters today." She swallowed hard. He's been weird for a while. I know. Are we gonna lose the house? No, I said. We're not losing anything we need. That wasn't a promise I made lightly. I work the front desk at a tire shop. It's not glamorous, but I make it work. We've been stretching paychecks around rent, around groceries, around my mom's insulin. I'd already started picking up weekend shifts at the diner by the highway. I'd already called the utility company about payment plans. I'd already talked to the lawyer about making sure his debts didn't follow me. It was going to be hard. But a different kind of hard. A hard without fear mixed into it. Emma leaned into me. She didn't cry. Neither did I. We just stood there under a bright June sun, both of us breathing the way people do after a storm passes. That night, after we ate pizza on paper plates and opened graduation cards on the couch, she went to bed and I washed dishes alone. The house felt quieter than usual. My phone buzzed a few times. Texts from friends saying they were sorry, saying they loved me, saying they'd testify if needed. Small kindnesses, not miracles but real. I looked at my reflection in the dark kitchen window. I looked older than I used to. Tired, yeah. But not broken. I thought about the years I'd spent trying to keep the peace by swallowing what I knew. I thought about how peace that costs your dignity isn't peace at all. On the counter was my copy of the paperwork. I ran my finger along the edge of it, not with pride but with certainty. I didn't do what I did to humiliate him. I did it because I was done being the only adult in the room. I did it because my kid deserved a mom who didn't flinch. Later, I went into Emma's room to check on her. She was asleep with her diploma case on the floor and her cap hanging off the bedpost. I pulled the blanket up and stood there a second longer, just listening to her breathe. I don't know what Josh will do next. I can't control the stories he tells. I can't control who believes them. I can't control the mess of court and custody and money that's coming. But I can control this house tonight. I can control the way I show up for my daughter. I can control whether I live my life with my head down or up. When I turned off the hall light and walked back to my room, I felt a strange kind of relief under the grief. Not because something shiny and perfect began, but because something honest finally did. In this country, in this kind of life, that's sometimes the closest thing you get to a miracle, and it's enough to start over.